Hey everyone, welcome on to Social Jane. This week we are doing a guest training and interview with Miss Jen Johnson. I am so excited to have Jen come on and share with you guys about some really hot button topics like content creation, organization, marketing, all of the things. This is why you're in Social Jane to begin with, right? Because you want to learn about this stuff. So today we're chatting with Jen. And if you've ever struggled with content creation, this discussion is absolutely for you. Jen is a content marketing strategist and she supports small business owners and online coaches in creating content that helps you captivate, connect, and convert those perfect match clients while marketing like a human, right? That's the thing. We're always talking about being yourself, owning that authentic side of you. And she's like us. She believes that it's possible to get the visibility, get booked, and be 100% yourself. So we're totally vibing, Jen. And I'm so glad that you're here to share all of your tips and tricks with the Social Jane community.
Thank you
So,
so much. Thank you for
yeah,
having me here.
absolutely. Share a little bit about yourself. Let's get to know you.
Gosh, so I first and foremost am a Christian, a lover of Jesus. I center my whole world around my whole business, my life, everything around God. And I'm a wife, a mother of two. I'm a creative. Me and my husband are both musicians. He's a full-time musician. That's how we met. And when we had babies, I made a little bit of a shift into moving on to some different platforms, social media platforms, and just started creating from there and taking what my experience was being on stage to being in front of the camera. The camera is something I've always loved since I was really little. My dad would carry around the bulky camcorder and film us doing everything. And I'd always be like, I want to see, I want to see. I wanted to always see myself on camera. So I kind of just dug deep into like the roots of things that I loved ever since I was little and decided to start tapping into that. And I know so many people who just fear the camera and struggle with the camera and hesitate. And so I felt like, this is my jam. This is where I can really help people shine. So that's what I've been doing for the past 9 years.
I love that. And you really touched on a really important aspect of like thinking back to the things that you absolutely loved when you were a child, when you were completely unfiltered and you weren't afraid of, the silly adult shit that we deal with on a daily basis, right? Because like you, I was such a ham when I was younger. Like anytime someone whipped out a camera or that bulky camcorder,
Yeah.
situation, I'm like, hey guys. And I totally am not like that as an adult. And I had to sort of rediscover that side of myself
Yeah.
and be okay with being sort of goofy and just out there and being myself on camera. So, yeah, it's so needed. So many people just need to be given that permission to say it's okay to be you. Like you don't have to be polished every time. You don't have to be perfect every time. Um, and honestly, this leads me right into my first question about content creation. So many people are just like, I don't know what to post. I don't know how to create content. And they don't really realize that like everything around them in life is inspiration. And so, yeah, let's start with content creation. What are some of your strategies around it? And how do you kind of streamline that process for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. And it's a very common question. I think whenever I think of like painters or artists that have a blank canvas, and it's almost like you don't ask the canvas what to paint. Like you get to be inspired. And inspiration comes from different things for me personally, but I think it's universal. It could be, just actual thoughts that you have from your own journey, your own personal experience, really being self aware and paying attention to those actual thoughts and thinking, yes, this could be a topic, this could be a content piece. Also, market research is a great way to go about just, not looking at what other people are doing and copying it. I kind of look at other people's content as a way to create a conversation because they might say something, but then I might completely disagree, or I might have a whole nother take on what they're talking about, or my own personal experience around that same topic. And so it really helps me polarize a little bit to look at what other people are saying and try to think, okay, how do I actually stand out from what everybody is saying? Because a lot of times you're scrolling and you hear the same 10 tips, the same 10 fill in the blank hooks, the same 10. It's like, okay, tell me something I don't know, you know? So ultimately, I think looking at what people are creating and then you taking it to a different level or your own unique level is another great way to come up with those ideas. But then honestly, really getting into conversations with your audience, finding out where they're truly at. And with no place to get, I know it can be challenging because people think, gosh, they're asking me questions, they're going to pitch me something. And it's like really just saying, hey, you know, if you go out and talk to 50 people in your audience today and say, hey, I'm just doing some market research, I don't have anything to sell to you today. What is the biggest thing that's getting in your way right now of you creating your next breakthrough? What is the thing that is stopping you from creating that next win? Like, if you could have someone in your back pocket to help you get over this next hurdle, what would it be? And just really here, you're going to see patterns and you're going to see the same things come up for those people. And when you talk to enough people, you get that data to be able to think, okay, this is what my audience really needs to know or understand or shift their perspective on or change their mindset around. And it's no longer about what do I want to post. It's like, it's not about you. It's about your audience. You know, I mean, I think of someone like Taylor Swift, who is just, I can't get her off my feet at this point. Everywhere. Even
She's taking over.
Taking over the world. But one thing that she did really early on, and I don't know if she still does it, but she did it for a long time. When she would put out records, she would invite fans to her home to listen to the songs before actually putting the record out to the world. Like, she wanted to hear from them. Do you like this? What is it? Tell me, give me the feedback, right? Because she writes songs that she loves, but she also wants to write songs that people will buy and resonate with. So take that note from Taylor.
Yeah. Honestly, you guys, as you're listening to this, put in the comments below, like, how genius is that strategy that Jen just gave us? Go to your network of existing people with no ulterior motive and ask what kind of help they need. Like, that is just, it's so simple. It's so to the point, and that's the kind of action that's going to get the right kind of results, right? Because you've detached yourself from the sale, from the expectation, and you're just like showing up saying, I just want to help. And while I'm helping you, it's also going to help me. It's going to help me identify and narrow in on how best I can really serve my community and my dream client, because maybe that's not you right now, right? Like, maybe the person you're having that conversation with, they're just along in the journey of your own kind of brand and business discovery. Maybe they're never going to be a customer or a client, and that's okay. Like, it's part of it.
Yeah.
So, I'm absolutely taking this and implementing it immediately.
Though, I will say I had a client that did this, and I said, just ask people, how can I support you? How can I support you? She got like, I think 21 customers in that like short span of time through that process. She wasn't trying to get customers, but because she led with that no place to get, serve to sell, she ended up selling. And so it's pretty cool because then people find out, oh, well, what are you working on? Are you creating a program? Like, what do you have? You know, you're just shocked where the conversation can actually go when you're just genuinely really trying to listen to your audience. And I think a thing that really stops people or gets in people's way of creating is we have this battle that we're constantly up against. And that is trying to create content to please a platform versus trying to create content that genuinely wants to come out of you and that would really resonate with your audience. And that can be challenging, you know, because you're like, well, I want to talk about this, but then the algorithm might do that. Or, you know, you're trained to like constantly be thinking about how you're showing up on one hand, but then on another hand, no, do you, be you. And it's just this constant battle to where you really just got to get to your era. Like, I'm turning 40, so I'm in my I don't care, I'm going to do what I want era. When you get to that era, it's really freeing.
Oh, 100%. And, you know, I feel like you can get to that point right at any age. It really becomes about self-awareness and like ownership of, you know what, I'm going to take full responsibility for the actions I'm taking because I know they're going to propel me in the right direction because I'm trusting myself, right? There's a huge shift. And yeah, I'm in that era too. I'm in my mid 30s, but I'm just like, I'm kind of in that I don't give a era at the moment. And
Mhm.
it's not to be super polarizing or to like be rude or be anything. It's more about like I have squashed my own I've dimmed my own light for long enough.
Yeah, it
Enough
stifles
already.
your creativity, and I've gone through this recently because, I'm going back to school, I'm doing other things, and I'm like, I battle in my own head. I'm like, "Do I talk about the fact that I'm going back to school? Do people care? Like, should I do that?" And it's like in my heart, I wanna do that. But then, like, you're constantly just like you have that trained brain to constantly second guess whatever you're doing because you wanna make sure it gets seen and make sure it gets and it's like you just the more you are, the more it's just going to resonate with the right people, not so much where it's going to resonate with a million people. It's
Right.
just going to be the right people.
Yeah. Yeah. And I actually, my most recent sort of shift that I've made is you guys have probably seen in my content, I'm cussing a lot more. Like, it's just part of me. And I really, for a long time, the way I speak and the way I present myself, I feel like there's a perception that I'm very me. Like, it absolutely can be the real you. And don't worry about if like some people unfriend you or unfollow you. Like, social media is a business tool. If you want to have conversations with your bestie and your family, like, it doesn't have to happen on social media. Those
Yeah.
things can happen via text message or phone call. So like, don't worry about them not liking your social. It's not for them, you know? Um, so okay, this is going to lead me into my next question about marketing. When we're marketing to people, right? So we've got our content strategy, we're getting more familiar with it, we're reaching out without, having the sale as the end result. But
Yeah.
like, what kind of marketing tools are you using to market your products and services? How are you doing that in a way that's like really organic and feels good to you? And then, like, as someone who is new to it, right? Someone who's just getting into entrepreneurship or to network marketing or has a product or service, you can create content all day long, but if you're not really like getting specific with how you're marketing your efforts, they can be lost, right? Everything is gone from the online space within 24 to 48 hours, as the algorithm pushes it through. So, what are
Yeah.
some tips you have around marketing?
I'm a pretty minimalist marketer because I've never been one that's like, I want to hire a huge team. Like I've always just wanted to keep it simple. And I've been in my business full time for 9 years doing that. And it's just worked for me. I get anxiety thinking about having to teach other people how to do things and this and that. And while there is certain things like if I was to continue with my YouTube channel, I would hire an editor because I am done with editing. Like that is one thing I am just over. But that's not really having an employee. That's just kind of outsourcing or
Yeah.
delegating some things or whatever. So I don't have like a ton. I mean, as far as like tools or marketing things, I mean, it's Canva, it's social media, it's my phone. I don't have fancy camera equipment. I don't have like, I always just use my phone. Um, and then I just really have learned the ins and outs of the phone to make it the highest quality possible. Doing the different tips and tricks to like lower, the contrast and this and that to understand like how to make it look really good. Having a good ring light, my desk sits in front of a window, so this is natural light, but the rest of my house, you can see it's very dark and dim, and
Hmm.
like, it's just I need a ring light. So, but having good lighting, and then just having a good system. The biggest thing nowadays is experience. If you go to a restaurant, if you make a phone call to customer service, what do? They want you to take a survey. They want to know what was your experience like. So, what is the experience that you give to your one viewer at a time? Because it's only one viewer that's watching you, like, and like
Right.
it's you and the viewer, right? And so what is their experience from the time they see your very first piece of content to grabbing your lead magnet, to getting on a call with you, to getting into the DMs with you, to buying your course, your product, your service? And then what is it like after they do that? Like, what is this journey you're taking them on to where they feel like the experience is so incredible?
Yeah.
My dog just took my daughter's stuffed animal.
Real life over here. Yeah, so I am with you on that. Keep it simple. The thought of having a team and having to turn around and teach my system and my process and how I like to do stuff to somebody else, I'm just like, that sounds like more work. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm kind of with you. I'm not really, I'm on the brink of wanting to outsource some of the projects that I do, like for example, my podcast, and repurposing that podcast into so much more content. I'm kind of on the verge of being like, maybe I could hire somebody to like do those bits and pieces. I actually, my podcast episode that aired this week was about burnout, and I touched on that because it was just like, it's something that's really on my mind that I know will happen in the near future. But when it comes to marketing, like I'm like you, I stick to the social media platforms. I am a big advocate of email marketing
For sure.
because, yeah, I think it's a fantastic resource to nurture and drive people in the right direction. And also, it's a great follow up system, right?
Yeah.
And it's such a fun place to provide value. For me personally, I like to write.
I
So I
love
don't,
writing. Yeah,
yeah,
I'm with you.
I don't
So
know that I'll outsource the actual writing of the emails and stuff like that. I know a lot of people do that. And hey, Chat GPT, am I right? Like this, this tool is
this is where I
insane.
get polarizing.
This tool is crazy. And I'm not like afraid by it. I know a lot of people in just entrepreneurship, in the coaching industry and all of that. They're like, oh my gosh, it's taking our jobs, it's taking our, worth. And it's like, no, human to human is never ever going to go out of style, ever. So I use ChatGPT as like a springboard to just sort of launch me in the right direction if I'm feeling a little stuck creatively. What do you use it for?
I don't use it much, I gotta be honest. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll use it for research. I'll use it for my clients if I'm doing consulting and they need content ideas, and they're a relationship coach or they're a doctor or and I need to like do that type of a research
Hmm.
for them. Um, I really just I'm a songwriter. I've been in the recording studio. I've been like I write. I'm a writer. And so to me it's like an artist handing their paintbrushes to a robot and being like,
Yeah.
"Paint this thing for me." And it's like that's not going to land the same. I was actually laying in bed this morning thinking about this, and I think of like the Harry Potter books or the Twilight series or any books that you read. It's like, could you imagine if the author was like, write a story about a vampire that falls in love with this girl from Forks and there's wolves? Like, it just would not come out the way. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like,
Oh, yeah.
you
Yeah.
can't have it do your brain work for you. Like,
Hmm.
you can use it, like you said, as a springboard to get some data, to research, to do some ideas, but don't let it steal your voice. Don't let it
Yeah.
steal your heart, your passion, your personality, the way you would say something. Because even with ChatGPT, you could say, "Oh, and make it sound like this. Make it sound like this personality, or snarky, or sarcastic." But it's still you're getting someone else to do your personality for it. It's just I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of
Yeah.
of it to like use it to a certain degree, but I really feel like it could make people lazy, and it could make that challenge of I don't know what to talk about even harder because you're not using that muscle lever. You're just like relying on a bot.
I actually forget to use it sometimes, like if I'm actually feeling really stuck. And usually what I do is if I'm feeling super stuck, I just put my work aside and I go meditate, or I like go outside or
Yeah.
something like that. Cause I know after all the training and all of the work that I've done, I know that I'm the one who has the answers. But
Yeah.
sometimes I'm just getting in my own way, and such is human nature. So, what are the tools I have to use at my disposal? Well, quiet time, right? Like, And so I forget to use ChatGPT actually on a regular basis because sometimes I'll be nearing the end of a project and I'm like, ah, I could have put this prompt in there, huh? That might have gone a little faster. But then again, it might have given me not, something from the soul, like what I
Right.
did produce. So yeah, I'm a little like about it. I think it has its purpose, but people need to be careful about overutilizing it and stifling their own voice. I
Or
think
just
you're absolutely
being
right.
a crutch to where you're going to really not grow in that aspect of using your voice or, coming up with your own thought and idea. And honestly, if everybody's just using ChatGPT, it's all going to sound the same again.
Yeah.
Like everybody's hooks sound the same because we're all like 3 ways to three
Yeah.
mistakes. And it's starting to sound like the cheesy advertising that we make fun of
Yeah.
on the commercials that we used to watch, but it's all like personalize that,
Yeah.
make it you talk about the 3 mistakes from an experience you had of making those mistakes, or, you know, bring bring you into it so you're relatable, so you're trusted, and you don't just sound like a walking, talking hook machine.
Yeah. Yeah. I know, right? I definitely think that the trend is a little too, I don't know, it needs to be pulled back on a little bit. I agree with you. We're definitely in alignment on this. Um, so on the topic of like posting your content and, creating that engagement with the right kind of people, how do you find that you can best stay consistent with this process? Because I encounter quite a lot of women that they're like on fire for a while and then where'd they go? And, a month or two, they come back and they're like, okay, I need to get back in the saddle and I'm like ready to rock again. And it's like, you've lost all of that engagement and attention that you garnered 2 months ago. Like, why did you stop? Just consistency is an ever evolving, struggle for a lot of people. And I think sometimes they rely heavily on like some sort of strategy that's going to keep them there. But what is it that you do for like staying consistent and keeping, without getting burnt out also?
I feel like everybody has a thing that they love. I know, like when I was in network marketing, I loved team building. Don't ask me to sell your product. Like I don't want to sell the product. I just want to build the team. But then there was other people that were like, I just want to sell a product. Like, and they were so good at it. I always sucked at selling the product, but I was really great at team building. And I feel like in the content world, it's kind of like in the marketing world, it's the same. Some people love creating the content. Some people love having conversations. Like I've gotten very introverted over the years of just working at home alone. So I'm
Yeah.
like, I'll do all the content all day long. Like so easy for me. But other people are just like, oh, content. So I'd rather just talk to people. And so I think it takes doing both. You want to have a passive marketing approach, but also be proactive and actually talking to people. And I think that's a big misconception is that I'm just going to post content and everybody's just going to come buy my stuff. Like, and that's what people sell you on to get you into their course. And then you buy the course and realize that's not happening.
Yeah.
Used to before there was a bajillion people deciding to start their own business. That used to be a thing. Like I do a live and make sales like right there, like no problem. It's just not that way anymore. It's going to take more of a personal touch, more of a caring, more of an extra mile nobody else is on. So as far as consistency, I think it's important for you to decide where you want to be showing up consistently, where you want to be repurposing your content consistently, and then having a system that keeps track of what you're posting where, because that can be a whole rabbit hole of like, you're going to Instagram. Wait, when did I post? Did I post that already on there? Wait, should I put? Wait, where was the idea that I wrote down on that piece of paper? Like, that's a hot mess express. That's not gonna. You're gonna be tired just trying to figure out that.
Yeah.
And so when you systematize and organize what you're doing, where you're doing it, and know that every post has a different intention. Some posts might be because you're just looking for visibility. Others might be you want to generate leads. Others might be a promotional post so that you're making sales. What's your intent? what's your intention with every post?
Yeah.
And knowing that not every post is going to lead to a sale, but it's going to, maybe you're doing things to nurture the audience. Maybe you're doing something really silly to just gain new eyeballs, So there's a different thing. I call it content anatomy. There's like an anatomy to your content, that there's these elements that you want to make sure are included in every post that you make, but they all have a specific intention.
Right. Yeah. And that's, I did a training a little bit while back about like the tangible aspects of your content and how, those vanity metrics of like, oh my gosh, I got 200 hearts on this post and like 70 comments. Yeah. Well, you changed your profile photo. Like that didn't do anything for you. It's great. Got maybe some new eyeballs to be like, oh, I love her profile photo. So maybe now they're following your page, but there was nothing tangible that happened there. So I completely ignore the vanity metrics, like the likes, the hearts, the comments. Obviously, I comment back to people, but the quantity of that stuff happening has absolutely no indication for me of my success. I would rather get one new person on my email list a day than 200 hearts on a new profile photo. Like that new email is a tangible thing that now I can nurture forever and ever and ever until they maybe say unsubscribe at some day. So yeah, having that level of consistency where it's like, what is the purpose of this content? Why are you even showing up with it? Are you just doing it because someone said you need to post every day? So you're like, oh, here's a picture of my dog. Like, guess I got to post today.
Yeah. And there's two schools of thought. And, some people say, don't sell on your news feed. Don't sell there. And then there's people that are like, sell there every day and twice on Sunday. Like, so, and here's the thing, they both work. Like, it's really up to you. I find it a disservice to create a whole piece of content. And then for the most part, like, there's some posts I'll make where it's just more of like an engagement post or whatever. But you really want to be leading them to that next step and saying, hey, if this is hard for you, or if you struggle with this, or if you need help in coming up with a way to do this, like tell them the next thing. Like they're looking for guidance. They're looking for, what do I do? Everybody's walking around going, what do I do?
Yeah.
That Jeff Lawrence audio. What do I do?
Yeah, that's so true. What a good visualization. People are just on social media going, what do I do? I don't know.
Right. And so that's why, and sometimes people are there to zone out and tune out and laugh and this and that. But that's not, like, you can do all that and that's going to get you visible, but that's not going to get you sales. So likes boost your ego, sales boost your bank account.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So, ego isn't paying my bills over here. So
yeah. So I think, just deciding and testing and trying, like, seeing what works and what doesn't, and doubling down on what does,
Yeah. And that's something that I have been coaching a lot on with my clients lately, is trusting the process of like, okay, so how you were talking about the content anatomy. All right, let's get a really good idea of the type of content that feels really aligned to you, that's going to get your message across, and then run with it and give yourself some breathing space to see if it works. Because if you check it in 2 days and you're like, let me see if this is working, it's been 2 days. Like, give it 30, give it 60. It's like stepping on the scale every single day and expecting to see a new number. It doesn't work like that.
Not anymore.
So I wanted to actually turn the conversation back to struggle for a lot of entrepreneurs is that organization piece. And it kind of tied into the consistency, but also the organization. You had mentioned that having a tool that helps like keep your content, your past content organized, and like, do you use Trello? What is it that you use to keep you organized like that?
So I used Trello for a long time, and then I met Airtable. And Airtable is kind of like a glorified Excel, but you can actually view things from a calendar view, from a Kanban view, like Trello, like a Trello style view, from a grid view. There's all these different ways you can view it. There's different ways you can organize or categorize your content to make it easy to see. And so, yeah, and then I use Airtable and have developed a whole system around that because I was pumping out so much content and it was getting hard to be like, "Ugh, where did I post that? And I just like, I need a system that's going to help me know and help me quickly be able to post every day, because it could take all day just to figure out what to post, where to post it. And I'm the type of person that I'll repurpose to multiple platforms, but I don't take the same post and post it everywhere the same day. And so people always wonder, how do you create so much content? I'm like, I don't. I
Yeah.
just repurpose it, and
You're like, I'm just working a lot smarter.
yeah. And so I can look at my Airtable and today see what I've posted to TikTok, what I've posted to Instagram, what I've posted to Facebook, what I've written as an email, because you can turn any post into an email.
Mhm.
And so, and however many places you're repurposing to, you can do this for. And the thing is that, so people always talk about insights and looking at your analytics of your content, but you can't see an overall bird's eye view of all your content and like what you've been posting to figure out where the gap is, where the hole is, what's working, what's not working, in terms of like stylistically what you're posting or what topics you're talking about. So the Airtable allows you to see, the topics that you're creating on, the types. Are you creating a carousel? Are you creating a trending reel or an original reel? Are you doing B-roll? And it allows you to see all the different pieces of the anatomy. What calls to action did you make in all the posts that you're doing? And you'll start to see over time, like, oh, I just did 4 posts and I didn't even make a call to action. And like, now you can notice that you're like, oh, that's why I'm not making any sales. Like you can start to figure out that's why I'm not generating any leads. Because how many people create a lead magnet and then they talk about it one time and then they don't ever talk about it again.
Right.
So you have this way of tracking what your calls to action have been. And it's like, why am I not generating any leads? Oh, well, I haven't like made a call to action to my lead magnet in 2 weeks. So it's just a great way to look at everything you have going on across the boards of all your platforms and be able to like move, mix and match, repurpose, remix the content. Like if I make a static post on Facebook, I can turn that into an actual talking head video on TikTok. The different platforms like different ways of delivering too. So you can remix. You're getting just so much more mileage out of every post when you have it in a system like that.
So Airtable is totally new to me. So is this a platform that you can post from? And does it do some of the repurposing for you?
I want to say I don't do that aspect of it. I want to say it might be working on that. Only because I used to use scheduling tools, but even then, like you still had to go in and manually post it. like what's the point of this?
Yeah, and that's so like with Facebook, I utilize the scheduler because it is available to me to like schedule. So I'll do 20, 30 days worth of content like on my personal profile in my group, and I get those things scheduled out as far ahead as it'll let me, but it only goes like 30 days. But Instagram, I don't have, like, I don't want to pay for a tool that schedules for me, even though, I mean, I just don't want to pay for it. So I do it personally. So with Airtable, you essentially, it's your vault for everything, and you can just sort of copy paste and like grab what you need.
Yeah, like I can write all my captions, all my hooks,
You do all the work inside of it.
I batch everything in there. You can even upload your videos, and I don't do all of that. Like some people do because it looks pretty or whatever. But I will like grab the actual URL once I already post it to have a reference link for what that piece of content was. But typically, like having a main platform is helpful. Like what's your main platform you typically start your reels on? Like I always create in TikTok. I find it way easier than Instagram. And so I'll create on TikTok, immediately download that video watermark free onto my phone, stick it into a folder of like, so I can like easily access it for when I want to post it somewhere else. You know,
Right.
these platforms make it so much harder than it has to be just because it's like, I don't want your logo on my platform. And yeah, grow up, you guys. You sound like a bunch of little 4-year-olds on the playground. So over it. Like,
Right.
we're
Yeah.
all gonna post same content everywhere. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Just
know,
let us.
like
Come
this
on.
scarcity mentality of like,
Well, and the fact that like Meta, right, owns like all the stuff, it's just like, why on earth do my Instagram reels not just go to Facebook? They don't. They don't like they're not linked. It just doesn't work. I only even got Facebook reels like a month ago. I mean, a year ago, I was hearing people talk about Facebook Reels. I'm like, what are y'all talking
oh
about? I've never seen this in my life. I can't even see other people's Reels. And
wow.
I just got it. And I'm like, okay, let's link the two. Okay, no,
Yeah.
I guess I'll just copy paste. Like, what else am I going to do? So,
Yeah.
this Airtable sounds really cool, though. So, as we wrap up today, what is something that like everybody watching can get their hands on? How can they connect with you? What's the next thing?
Yeah. So I have a couple things. So I am working on well, as of live of this video now, I have an Airtable system that I have developed, and it was initially for myself, but I have packaged it and put it into like a mini little crash course, but you get access to the actual system, all the templated tables. I train you on how it works and how you can utilize it for your business, how you can customize it for yourself, because everybody kind of creates differently. And everybody's brain is kind of wired a little differently. Some people like looking at a calendar view, other people like a grid view. That's what I really love about it. So yeah, I have an actual system that I have created that so that way you can actually just plug it in your content, start using it, organizing, getting more consistent, not only on, whatever platform you're posting to now, but allowing yourself to maximize repurposing elsewhere and getting extra mileage out of remixing the content you're creating and stuff like that. So I do have that available. And that will be at meetjenjohnson.com/Airtable is where you can access that. And then I do have a free guide as well on just 35 ways to get in front of your perfect match clients. So
I
that
love
you
that.
snag, grab, and start utilizing. Because, yeah, a lot of times, as much as I love creating content, you also have to do that work of getting yourself like, you're a needle in a haystack. You want a lot of clients, but there's only one of you. So you have to get yourself in front of people. And sometimes that takes you being proactive, not just posting and ghosting and sitting
Yeah.
and waiting and wishing Jack Johnson would sing about.
Yeah. I love that. And, I think it's so awesome that you created the Airtable like crash course that you have. You created it because for yourself, you were like,
I
I
needed
need
it.
to figure this program out. I need to get the nuts and bolts of it like figured out. And those are some of the best kinds of courses and trainings that you're going to get your hands on are the things that like the people teaching them have just gone through, have just experienced and found success and been like,
Yeah.
this is great. Let me turn around and share this with other people so I don't keep it a secret.
Yeah, and I've used it for a long time. I've tweaked it. Even as I was creating it, I tweaked it again. I'm like, we're going
Yeah.
to add something right here.
Yeah.
Because you're just constantly like trying to refine it, define it. And honestly, like some people that just don't ever use a calendar, I will say like I even say it in the course, like you might come in and think, oh my gosh, this is like a lot, which first of all, it's a very minimalistic approach to content organization and batching, because there are some of these things out there where I'm like looking at it, I'm like, that is so much busy work. Like I just would not do that,
Yeah.
So I try to keep it very minimal. Like these are the elements you want to incorporate into your posting. This is what you want to track as you're creating. This is how you remix. This is how you batch. This is how can repurpose easily and keep track of it. So ultimately it is a minimalistic approach, and but you still might feel like, wow, this is so foreign because you're just used to like scouring your desk for the piece of
Yeah.
paper, the idea that you wrote down. And so sometimes people have a little bit of resistance getting into like a thing like this because they're like, oh my gosh, a lot of times it feels like I have to learn this whole new thing. It's not,
Yeah.
you're not going to
But
lose.
let's be honest,
It's
ask
free.
yourself the question, is your current system and strategy working for you?
Yeah.
If the answer is like not a resounding yes, then be open to something new. Be open to
People
looking at a
have
calendar.
anxiety about planning. Honestly, some people I've had clients where they're like, they have anxiety about using a calendar and plan. They like to just fly by the seat of their pants. And in marketing, that's just not a thing. Like in marketing,
Mm-mm.
you have a calendar and you
Yeah.
prep and plan and prepare and
Well,
promote.
and to be honest, what I have come to discover for myself and for my clients is at first, I think everybody really wants to be that super spontaneous, like, let me just post what I feel, and all the things. It's like, that's great. That can absolutely be your reality to a certain degree. But
Yeah.
when you schedule things out and when you have that bird's eye view of like, this is what my month, my quarter is going to look like, you would be shocked at how much mental space and energy that frees up for you to just be fully creative and actually be spontaneous rather than pretending to be spontaneous
Well,
and really just flying by the seat of your pants.
and intentionally spontaneous too.
Yeah.
I'm not one to batch 30 days of content. I feel like that's a lot. And I feel like it's not leaving room for all the ideas to come in the month
Hmm.
because you get new ideas every day.
Yeah.
I take a shower every day. So there's a new idea in there somewhere every time. And so I only batch content maybe twice a month. Like
Hmm.
I'll take 2 days out of my month and I'll batch like things that I've compiled as ideas, whether it's talking head, reels, carousels, whatever. But then outside of that, like those get loaded into my drafts. But a lot of times I end up not even using all of that because I come up with all these new ideas. And now I have leftovers that I can roll into the following month. So you're never out of,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. No, I love that approach. And I think for someone who's just starting out and has trouble coming up with those ideas, batching out maybe 30 days or maybe even like 15 days, 10 days, 1 week at a time, like it gets that muscle working where it's like, okay, let me think ahead just enough to free up some mental capacity to
yeah.
think of something new, to not just be sitting in that like anxiety ridden, feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is such a good conversation. Obviously, we could chat forever, it seems like. So, so, okay, you guys, go to the comments. I'm going to put how you can find Jen on Instagram. She's at jenjohnson.official, but I'll put that in the comments. And then for sure, grab the info for Airtable because, I mean, come on, like you've got to dig a little deeper and see if this is right for you. Jump into Jen's DMs, ask her some questions. I'm sure she's open to it. And I am definitely going to grab my 35 content ideas because, like we said, use the stuff around you as a springboard for inspiration. And it's not that you have to go word for word and chat GPT that shit. No, use it as inspiration. So yeah, she's got meetjenjohnson.com/35 ideas. I'll put it in the links for you too. Or I'll put it in the comments for you. So anything else you want to leave us with before we sign off?
Just allow yourself to intuitively create, let go of the best time to post. The best time to post is when you feel inspired to post. And I think that when you let go of the scarcity of like, I did a really funny TikTok about this, but when you go of the idea that like, oh, what if nobody sees my post right now? It's like, who isn't on social media right now in this moment? Like everybody is, right? And I'll have to send you the TikTok.
Yes, no, we want to see it. We want to see it.
It's like, oh, so like, do you get more engagement when you post at the right time? And it's like, no, I don't.
No.
Doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
So just stop letting the platforms bully you into thinking you have to create a certain way to get somewhere. It's like you said, trust the process. Trust that when you post is the perfect time for the one person who needed to hear what you talked about or what was in your content or needed that guide that you offered or needed that phone call that you invited them to schedule on your calendar. Really just trust that the right people are finding you at the exact right time and the right amount of people are finding you right? The amount of people that are finding you are the amount of people you can handle right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's really it. Are you opening yourself up and giving yourself the space that's needed to scale your business where you want it to go? It's one thing to have a dream, but if you're not actually operating as the CEO that, makes those kinds of decisions, then those results aren't going to come to you. I mean, it's the law of attraction, it's the law of assumption. It's just not going to happen if you're not operating in that level. And so it really, it dials all back to self-awareness and really just removing. I love how you said that. Don't let these platforms bully you into thinking you're doing something wrong. Like, trust yourself, trust your decisions, and know that, it really is. It's that one person. It's that perfect match, dream client. That's all. That's the only person you're talking to.
Yeah.
If anybody else he hears it or sees it, wow, that was real tricky to come out. Then great, right? That's additional. That's great. But speak to the one, right?
Yeah.
This was fantastic. I'm loving it. I can't wait until our next chat. We're definitely going to have to do a podcast episode, and all the things. And you guys put in the comments below how, any big takeaways, because there's so much good stuff that Jen shared with us in today's chat, and definitely get connected with her. So until our next training.
Thank you.